Hi everyone, for today we will talk about speed versus velocity.
So our objective, of course, is to explain the difference between speed and velocity and define the concept of average velocity and calculate it using the equation. Average velocity equals to change in displacement divided by change in time. So our vocabulary that we will go over with is speed and velocity, and then it includes calculations. So we will still encounter words such as scalar and vector quantity. Okay, so let's have speed versus velocity. So let us take a look at the difference between speed from velocity. Okay, so in ordinary language, the word speed and velocity both refer to how fast an object is moving. So most of the time, we use these words interchangeably because we thought that velocity and speed are just the same. In physics, however, they are fundamentally different. Why? So the reason why they are different from each other is because speed is the magnitude of an object's motion with no regard for direction, meaning speed is quite similar to distance. Speed is scalar. So when we say magnitude, just a review, it refers to a number plus a unit. That is magnitude. For example, if you write 10 meters or 10 meters per second, that refers to magnitude. It is scalar because it doesn't have a direction at all. Velocity, on the other hand, includes still speed. It includes speed still. But aside from speed, it also includes direction. Therefore, it's a vector quantity and it must have a magnitude and direction. So when you write it, you have 10 meters per second. So your 10 is your number. Your meter per second is your unit. But you need to add a direction. East is your direction. Or sometimes we use positive sign and negative sign for direction. Positive means going to the right and negative means going to the left. Or you can use up, side, down, or up, down, right, or left. So that is why velocity and speed is different from each other. Speed is scalar, velocity is vector. And aside from that, even for their calculations, they will be using different variables or different quantities also. Okay, why? Okay, here. Of course, in solving for average speed, this is calculated by dividing the total distance traveled by the time interval. Meaning in speed, we use distance. So speed equals distance over time, or d over t. For example, someone who takes an hour to drive 30 miles north, the north is going up, and then 30 miles south. So what does it mean? It just goes back to the same spot. So end up at the same place. Have an average speed of 60 miles divided by 1 hour. So your speed is 60 miles per hour. That's how simple it is. So speed is equal to distance over time. In this scenario, you have two distance, as what I've said. For distance, you just have to add it up and then that's it. So 30 plus 30 equals 60 divided by your time, which is 1. 60 divided 1 is 60, and you need to write the unit miles per hour. Okay, very simple, right, for speed. Now, what if a car travels a distance of 100 kilometers in 2 hours? So you have a distance of 100 kilometers and you have a time which is 2 hours. Can you solve for speed? Okay, 50, because distance is 100 divided by 2. 100 divided by 2 is 50. What is the unit? Is it miles per hour? Take a look at this. Okay, kilometers. Kilometers per. You just have to combine both of them. So your final answer should be 50 kilometers per hour. So that's how you solve for speed. You just have to divide distance and time. Now, if there are a lot of distances there, you will just add the distances and then divide it with the time in order for you to get the average speed. Okay, on the other hand, for velocity or average velocity, however, we will use total displacement instead of distance. So there's a difference between them. For speed, we use distance. For velocity, we use displacement. Then it is calculated by dividing the total displacement by the time interval. So our formula is velocity equals displacement divided by time. So in the example above, the driver returns to its original position. So their displacement is, so your displacement there is x2 minus x1. Your displacement is 0, which makes the average velocity 0 miles per hour. So why? Because when you solve for it, the formula velocity equals triangle D. Triangle D is displacement divided by triangle T, which is time. So your displacement class is x2 minus x1. So it's going to be x2 minus x1. We use x because it's horizontal line or x-axis divided by time. Your x2 is 60 minus your x, or 30, I mean. Your x2 is 30. Your x1 is 30 divided by 1. 30 minus 30 is 0. 0 divide 1 is 0. Copy the unit, miles per hour. For displacement, you always consider the final point minus the initial point. So to summarize, average speed is distance divided by time. The formula for that is S equals D divided by T. While for average velocity, that's displacement divided by time. The formula is V equals triangle D over triangle T. Triangle is just delta or change. So change in distance or displacement over change in time.